Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon on assignment in Chicago.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. Does that assignment kick off in 3.5 hours in Evanston, maybe?
Yeah, Tony, I think that's an accurate scouting report. Sparty people wearing green. I'm not happy with them. Go Cats, yes. In Evanston, home game.
Michigan
ESPN,
State
baby.
was terrible last year. You should beat them by 30.
That was last year,
40.
dude. That was last year.
Oh, it's not the same as this year?
No.
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Clemson versus Georgia, Alabama at Miami, and the Dodgers at the Giants. And so we begin today with college football. The fourth-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes went to Minnesota and won, but not by a blowout. The game was a struggle for Ohio State. They were down 21-17 in the third quarter. They could not contain Minnesota running back Mohamed Ibrahim. Their own freshman quarterback, C.J. Stroud, was shaky early, then much better in the second half. Wilbon, this is your conference.
Yeah.
Did Ohio State's performance make you more or less bullish on the Buckeyes?
What a great way to go into September, Tone. I mean, I'm here in Chicago, the headquarters of the Big Ten. I went out last night. I missed the first few snaps. I had to get some Harold's Fried Chicken on 14th in Michigan. I got right back in front of the TV. And lo and behold, Minnesota was ahead in this game, which shocked the hell out of me. And I watched every snap the rest of the way. And I was encouraged, not discouraged, by Ohio State. Because Stroud, Tony, once he got going, he's a freshman. He hasn't played since high school. He's on the road against a good Minnesota team. Write it down. Minnesota's pretty good. And his long balls, Tony, he threw some bombs. They're hitting these kids in stride. He's a freshman. So, no, I like him. I know Ibrahim. I understand that he was terrific and he got hurt, and Minnesota's going to be good, remember. But no, man, Ohio State, they got into their stride when they counted in this game. They look like Ohio State to me.
It's really good that you dropped that restaurant name for free food
Harold's,
down
baby.
the road.
Harold's,
that was really
yeah.
smart on your part. So I watched a lot of the game, and honestly, it didn't move the needle for me either way.
What?
I don't have any particular feeling about Ohio State, but I'm looking forward to this. I wrote this down.
Right.
Next week, they host number 11 Oregon, okay? And that might be the first big alliance game between the Pac-12 and the Big Ten.
Great
that,
defensive
to me,
player,
is a big deal. If they show very well in that game,
right,
I'm going to think very highly of Ohio State.
That's
because
fair.
Here's what you have.
That's fair.
After Oregon, Mike. You've got Tulsa, Akron, and Rutgers. Not exactly murderer's row. So we'll see how they get through the first two games.
Yeah. Rutgers are a little better than they used to be, but you're right. No murderer's row there. Also last night, Central Florida came back from 21 down to beat Boise State. Watch this, too. Very entertaining game. Gus Malzahn's team took the lead late in the third, then survived a back-and-forth battle down the stretch to win 36-31. The Athletic has reported that Central Florida is one of the 4 teams being courted by the Big 12, and Malzahn told Yahoo that his program has a chance to be elite in the near future. Tone, considering all that, do you see this as a big-time win?
I do. They were down 21-0. I mean, they were playing a team that everybody remembers beat Oklahoma in a bowl game, and that was the announcement
a few years back to watch
Boise State. Boise State is known. Central Florida is known. A couple of years ago, they were 13-0. They declared themselves national champions. They go out, they get Gus Malzahn, who doesn't have to declare himself. I think he actually coached in the national championship game. This, to me, Mike, felt like a showcase game. And Central Florida came back from 21 and won that game. So, yeah, that is a big-time win to me.
I don't know, Tony. I mean, Boise State doesn't seem to be, from other reporting, having one of its great teams right now. And they've had some terrific teams, always entertaining. That Oklahoma game you referred to, thank you. That was like 15 years ago. What are you talking about? So it was okay. I mean, here's what I'm not going to do, Tone. And you and I may differ on this in the upcoming weeks, as much as we both love and watch tons of college football. I don't care what people play. I don't care what conference they're in and whether this conference is moving people around and this conference is getting Texas and whoever. I don't care. Is it a big-time game? It's a big-time game locally for that team, for Central Florida and Malzahn. I don't know that that's going to transfer to anything else and they're somehow going to be knocking on the playoff door. I don't believe that yet. And Boise State's a team I do pay attention to. They're my favorite non-Power 5 team over years. I love watching them. I don't know that their team this year is that great. Is it a great win? If Northwestern beats Michigan State, I'm going to tell you that's a great win, but I don't know that it's a great win for people outside.
Let me talk about aspiration.
Okay.
Central Florida has aspirations.
Yes.
I didn't know this till a couple of years ago. They're the biggest school in the country. If they commit completely to football, they can be somebody. They hired Malzahn. That is a big-time hire. If they go to the Big 12, even though I make fun of the Big 12 all the time, it's better than where they are now. This game last night seemed to me like Central Florida saying, here we come. So I'm going to watch them. Let's move to baseball.
They could be the new Florida State. They could be the new Florida State from 40 years ago when Bobby Bowden lifted them.
Well,
they could be that because they have the resources.
Their state has more prospects than any state. Sorry, Texas, they do. Let's move to baseball. The San Francisco Giants won yesterday to climb into a flat-footed tie with the idle Dodgers. Both teams are 85-49. That's the best record in baseball. They begin their final 3 games against each other tonight in San Francisco. So far this year, they're 8-8 against each other, and each team has scored 68 runs, and this is beginning to sound like a Duke, North Carolina comparison. Wilbon, who is this series more important to, the Dodgers or the Giants?
Neither. It's important to both of them. They're even. They both need to win. They're equals. They're big, strong blue bloods in baseball, as particularly the National League. Yeah, you'd have to throw the Cardinals a bone in there too. It's not more important for either one of them. It's important for each of them because they both want to win. The Giants have more World Series championships over the last 15 years than the Dodgers do. They got 3-1 on that score. They're equals, Tony. They're rivals. They're blood rivals and equals. I can't wait I'm going to watch some of this. The Padres are no longer in the discussion. You talked about how even they were in terms of runs scored and records. Let them play it out, man. I don't really have a rooting interest. I shaded toward the Dodgers, actually, for me, because the ownership, both of them need it.
Yeah, they have the exact same goal to avoid the wild card.
That's right.
So it's equally important to both teams. In this particular thing, the Giants are home, but their best 2 starters, Webb and Gausman, are not going to be able to go in this series, and Buehler is able to go for the Dodgers. He's 13-2 with a 2.05 ERA, and David Price is able to go, and a long time ago, he won a Cy Young, and that's meaningful. I have looked at their schedules. I think the Dodgers have a slight advantage because they have 6 against the Padres, all in L.A. Giants have 6, 3 in San Diego. The Dodgers have 6 against Arizona. Bad team. Giants only have 3, but they have 3 against the Cubs, another bad team. I think at the end of it, Mike, the Dodgers close with Milwaukee. Milwaukee's going to be in total snooze mode then because they're going to be locked into the playoffs. I think that's an advantage for the Dodgers, as I think Scherzer and Turner are advantages for the Dodgers.
Slight advantage. By the way, don't sleep on the Cubbies right now. We've won something like 3 or 4 games in a row. Huh? You know, I saw Doug Glanville.
Let's take a break.
Mr. Cub at breakfast this morning. We talked about
coming
the
up
again.
Who has the edge when number 3 Clemson and number 5 Georgia meet tomorrow? We're going to ask David Pollack, a real live guest.
We'll also ask him whether Miami has, any real chance of upsetting Alabama. Cubbies 3 in a row or 4 in a row. Ride home will tell us which one.
Mike. They're a AAA team like the Nats.
3 or 4 in a row. 3 or 4 in a row. How many did the Nats won in a row?
We have a huge weekend of college football, so let's welcome in our first guest in ages, and I mean ages, 18 months. From College Game Day, our great friend David Pollack. And David, let's start with the big one that you're in Charlotte for. That's number 3 Clemson versus number 5 Georgia, an opener with obvious playoff implications, which is cool. Is there anything in your mind that clearly separates these 2 teams?
No, there's not, man. I tell you what, both these defensive lines, I'm not putting anybody else ahead of them in the country. I mean, you're talking about grown men up front. I mean, Jalen Carter, you're talking about Jordan Davis, Trayvon Walker. You're talking about all of them, about 6'5", about 300 pounds to 350 pounds, just are going to eat up Clemson's offensive line. And Clemson's defensive line is going to do the same. Xavier Thomas, Miles Murphy, Brian Brussey, like the best at their position in the country. So both offensive lines are question marks for both sides of the football. Both quarterbacks have high expectations, are in the Heisman Trophy odds, top 10. But it's a huge stage. But I think whoever can be the most physical, whoever can run the football and get help. And I think when you look at Georgia, Zamir White is a physical presence Kendall Milton is a physical presence at the running back spot. So if whoever can run the football the best, I think wins this game.
There are so many great games, as Tony mentioned, David. One of those tomorrow is number 1 Alabama versus number 14 Miami. Nick Saban said recently that his new quarterback, Bryce Young, has played really, really well in practice, and Nick doesn't throw praise around easily. How do you like Miami's chances against him?
Well, I don't like Miami's chances against any part of Alabama. I don't think they want any piece of that anywhere on the field. But Bryce Young's a smaller guy. Think more Tua than Mac Jones. Lightning quick release, can scat around all over the place, make plays with his feet. He's breaking in all kinds of new weapons, a new offensive line. But the one thing you know about Alabama that you're going to get physicality, and they're going to pound the football. And if you watched Miami a year ago, they played against 3 really, really good teams. North Carolina's still running. They rushed for almost 600 yards in that game. Like, crazy pounded them. Clemson pounded them. I don't trust Miami physically to match up with Alabama, so I don't give them a chance. De'Aaron King, I want to be excited about him. I know he's coming back from injury, and I want to say he can make plays all over the field, but my goodness, I don't think Miami physically can match up with Alabama.
So you think that's a blowout in the making, don't you, David?
I do. Listen, we see it every year. I mean, Michael, what do we say? Like, oh, this is going to be good. Bama's playing Michigan. It's going to be awesome. Bama's playing X to start the season. Bama's playing Y to start the season. Florida State's in the top 3, baby. This is going to be awesome. Beat down. Everybody get beat. Yep.
All right, the hits just keep on coming. Here we go. Number 16, LSU at UCLA. LSU struggled last season. UCLA returns an awful lot of starters. Should we expect LSU to be back to form against Chip Kelly's team?
Man, I have no clue. If you closed your eyes and you told me LSU is going to be a top 10 team, I'd be like, sweet, preseason. If you told me they were going to lose 4 or 5 games and not be in the top 25, I'd be like, okay, I agree. I don't know. New coordinators on both sides of the football. They got talent. It ain't talent. That's not the issue. Can they get organized? Can they get the most out of what they have? Here's the thing I know about UCLA. They're going to run the football really well with upperclassmen on the offensive line. Chip Kelly will have a good plan. The big advantage for UCLA, there's a couple for me. They already played a game. How big is that? You look at where they're playing. They're going to play. UCLA is going to play at home. A lot of turmoil happened in Louisiana. Now you got to come across the country. You know who's going to be there? About 30 people. Okay, it's not going to be a big crowd. Everybody coming in, getting hyped.
Right.
So I think UCLA is going to have a lot of success early. Now I look for the depth of LSU and the playmaking of LSU to probably win out, but I do think it'll be a very competitive game, and I think this is Chip Kelly's best team.
David, the Big Ten's trying to be all over the stage early. Penn State, number 19, at number 12, Wisconsin. Penn State's quarterback Sean Clifford said this week, quote, "I'm the most confident quarterback in the country," close quote. I've never seen that, a Penn State quarterback willing to say that. Is this even with good reason that he is projecting all this confidence?
No. Absolutely not. I mean, if you watched Penn State a year ago, especially to start the season. By the way, they've got playmakers. They've got talent all over the field. The thing that's holding Penn State back to me is Sean Clifford, and he's got to be more decisive. And he scrambles around and he'll make plays, but he's got to make the easier plays and not have to go through that. So listen, good for him. He's got confidence. Graham Mertz on the other side. Remember last year to start the season, we were all like, that dude threw 1 into completion, and he was on fire, and he was 17 straight completions at one point. I'll tell you what, both quarterbacks, I don't really know what to expect, but I do know what I'm going to get from Wisconsin. I know exactly who Wisconsin is. They're going to hit you in the mouth over and over. They're going to be disciplined. They're going to be tough. So I give the edge to Wisconsin. Penn State's won the last 4 in this matchup, but hey, good news for Penn State fans. Well, I hope it's good news. If Sean Clifford's got the confidence and he's ready to spin it, he's got some weapons, and maybe it'll go well. Maybe he'll have his best year yet.
All right, we'll get you out of here on this. We need you to be real quick. On Sunday, it's number 9 Notre Dame against Florida State. Seminoles were 3-6 last season. How much of a test do you expect this team to give the Irish? Real quick.
I don't expect it to be a big test. Listen, Notre Dame, if you think about them year upon year upon year of success, recruiting, developing, I know exactly what I'm getting, who I am, not the turnover, the transfer portal and all the turnover that Florida State's had. Florida State might be better this year. Notre Dame's what Florida State used to be. They are the model of consistency. I trust their coach. I trust their lines of scrimmage. Notre Dame, I think, will handle FSU.
Thank you
David,
so much,
thank you
David.
so much.
Such
Good
a
having
pleasure
you
to
back,
have
man. Good having you.
You can see
Great to
more
be
of
back,
David
boys.
when
Thank you.
College Game Day starts 9 a.m. tomorrow on ESPN. We will take one last break, but still to come, the Phillies have suddenly won. Happy time, people. Happy 90th birthday, Dick Motta. 50 years ago, Motta was
Wow.
the NBA Coach of the Year with the Chicago Bulls. 43 years ago, Motta coached the Washington Bullets to their only NBA championship. Motta also coached the Mavericks, the Kings, and the Nuggets, and his 935 NBA coaching wins are 13th all-time. Before the NBA, Motta won 3 Big Sky championships at Weber State. Motta is famous for saying, "The opera isn't over until the fat lady sings." The original line used ain't instead of isn't and was uttered by a Texas Tech SID. Motta heard that and started using his own version. The Bullets sold t-shirts with Motta's line on them, and I know because I bought one.
Tony, I know you agree with this. Dick Motta is now forgotten, underrated, and was a great coach. I mean, before the Rileys and the Popoviches and the great coaches in the league today, Dick Motta, right? I mean, I grew up with Dick Motta's teams with Norm Van Leer and Jerry Sloan and Bob Love and Chet Walker and Tom Bullwinkle. They couldn't get past Wilt or Kareem in the Western Conference. They played in the West End. But oh my God, Dick Motta was a great coach.
Indeed, he was. Happy anniversary, Jerry Jones. Around this day 9 years ago, Jones had his son-in-law clean his eyeglasses at the tail end of a Cowboys win over the Giants on Sunday Night Football. This is such fabulous video. The son-in-law, Shai Anderson, is the Cowboys' chief operating officer and vice president of business development, in addition to being a first-rate eyeglass cleaner. Wilbon, I know you are critical of Jerry, but I also know how much you like him, because he is irresistible to sports writers. There is no owner of any American sports team with the power, the reach, and the recognition of Jerry Jones.
I'm sure somebody in Texas will object. But Tony, I think the Washington Post writers, including yours truly, when we used to stand around in the Cowboy locker room after those big, I'm saying it, yes, Redskins, that's who they were then, Cowboys games, I think we were the ones first talking to Jerry in the middle of the locker room. Lenny Shapiro, Paul Adner, others. And I don't think that other people did that until later, and now it's famous. Jerry stands there forever, he holds court. I believe we were the first. And somebody will call from North Texas and say, no, you guys weren't the first. I think we were.
Maybe so. A melancholy trails to David Patton, the clutch receiver who spent 12 years in the NFL, most notably a 4-year stint with the New England Patriots, died yesterday in a motorcycle accident at just 47 years old. Patton played on the first 3 Patriots Super Bowl champions, 2001, 2003, and 2004. In the famed Snow Bowl game in 2001, Patton had 8 catches for 107 yards. And in the Super Bowl that season, Patton caught Tom Brady's first ever Super Bowl touchdown pass. Through that postseason, Patton had 13 catches for 154 yards and 2 touchdowns. And in his career, Patton had 324 catches and 24 touchdowns.
Sadly, also, Tony, Keith McCants, the number 4 pick in the 1990 draft out of Alabama, died at the age of 53. And it just underscores how early in life so many football players pass away. Like the average age, they don't even live to 60. The average age is south of 60. I was talking to Tommy Waddle here at ESPN 1000 in Chicago, former Chicago Bear, and we were just lamenting that and how frightening that is.
One omission, the Nets are reportedly trading DeAndre Jordan and 4 second-round picks to the Pistons for Jahlil Okafor. Let's go quickly to the big finishes.
Let's do it.
Cubs manager David Ross and GM Jed Hoyer are quarantining after testing positive for COVID. Your thoughts?
Both are vaccinated. Remember, you can still test positive even if you are vaccinated, Tony, something Bill Belichick was pointing out yesterday as well. The Phillies have won 6 straight. You smell 7 tonight in Miami?
Yeah, they're beating up on terrible teams. They beat the Nats 4 straight and came from behind in each one. NHL players will be allowed to participate in the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing. Is that a good thing?
Yes, I've seen the Winter Olympics with the NHL players and with them going back to 98. They only missed 2018. Put them back in. The U.S. men and El Salvador had a scoreless tie in last night's World Cup qualifier. Why don't you break that down, dude?
0-0. What a waste of time. Last one, U.S. Open tonight. Leylah Fernandez, Naomi Osaka. Who you got?
You know, I always got Naomi Osaka, my favorite player on either side of tennis, men's or women's.
Out of time.